Thanks for joining us for the NorthBay Podcast, where we explore how outdoor education is reshaping the way students learn, grow, and connect with the world around them. I'm your host, Rick Garber, and in each episode, we're going to dive into the impact of outdoor schools, the challenges and successes of bringing learning beyond four walls, and the movement to make outdoor education accessible to all. Welcome to the NorthBay Podcast. I'm so excited to have with me today Drew Dumsch from the Ecology School at Riverbend Farm and Megan Karch from IslandWood out in Washington.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. So Drew, what role do you see outdoor schools playing in student connection and like really this entire generation's connection to nature and to environmental stewardship?
Well, Rick, I think kids are facing so many problems like climate anxiety. There's a higher rate of kids and young adults being anxious, and the sense that outdoor schools, we provide a shared experience that's joyful, that gives a shared sense of purpose. So going forward, the fact that kids, and I like to say that outdoor schools bring people together to bring it all together. So it's hard, and you both know this, when we try to, like, what do outdoor schools do? And I'm like, conservation, farming, social emotional skills, environmental science, we're dealing with climate education, and we list out 10 things, but we're able to do that because we get kids over multiple days. Right. So that power, bringing people together to bring it all together, is the power of this coast-to-coast outdoor school movement.
Yeah. Megan, what do you, like, how does IslandWood inspire students, help them learn about the natural world, even as our challenges and frankly crises in the environment intensify?
Yeah, well, there's never a more important time than now. And so I think, really how we like to think about it is we give them a sense of hope by giving them this sense of agency. Yeah. And so, I'll give you an example. Kids come to our programs, they spend 4 days with us, but when they first arrive, we have them draw, what's a scientist? And they draw Einstein, or they draw pictures in lab coats, or they draw the microscopes, right? And after 4 days of being with us in immersive programs in nature, just really in giving them that sense of discovery and wonder, at the end we ask them to do it again, right? And they draw themselves. They draw themselves, they draw themselves in the future. Yeah. And in my mind, that actually tells me that we have hope. We're giving them that sense of agency where all of a sudden they've gone from these other folks who can make change in the world. Right. I can make change in the world. I'm the scientist. Right. It's not just Einstein.
Yeah, we're broadening perspectives and horizons and increasing the possible for kids. Yeah. I think that's what outdoor school does, and it's giving kids that confidence and an ability to face those challenges.
Yeah. Individually and together too. That's the great thing. That kids, we can make change together because we're not
absolutely
at the
absolutely. Yeah.
So what innovations and or approaches are you most excited about that outdoor schools bring into to education?
For me, actually, is bringing in the food component. Okay. Because we're residential, we get to break bread 3 times a day. Right. The students, the teachers, our outdoor school staff, and that's huge. And there's this really, many outdoor schools are starting to add farming to and agriculture and food systems to their programs. And I think that is really exciting because that's just part of that whole bringing it all together, that when you're bringing food, because eating's the ecological act, you're bringing that into the curriculum, and that's so powerful, especially for a lot of kids who are coming in. Some of them are food insecure, and to spend 5 days at a place like NorthBay or IslandWood or the Ecology School and to get amazing food, in a lot of cases like at the Ecology School, food that we grew at the farm, sticks with the kids when they go home.
I'm with you, Drew. I think it's on the interconnection of it all, whether you're connecting arts with nature, connecting food with nature, connecting science and nature. And it's actually, in my mind, when I think about where are we getting better and better as a field, it's really doing all of that, but connecting it to exactly what kids are learning in the classroom, but making it real. Right. And that, to me, we've been doing it a while, but we're getting better and better at taking it from exactly what they're learning in the classroom and making it real. And then when the teachers leave, they're actually leaving with the tools that they actually then can take back with them to the classroom. It's not just what we're doing with them for 3 days or 5 days in our outdoor centers. It's actually what the teachers are able to take back and take that kid that they thought actually was not succeeding in their classroom and they weren't even sure they wanted to bring them to outdoor school. But all of a sudden they're like, I saw him come alive, or I saw her come alive.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to try a couple of different things when I'm in the classroom.
Right. The bringing the new knowledge and bringing inspiration home and making it real.
Right.
Yeah. So I think some of what's happening now is we're not only, we work with the kids, but we're also working with the teachers. I mean, you think about the teachers, teachers have exponential impact.
Right.
I mean, think about the number of kids that they are working with and impacting in their lives. And if we can actually partner and help and walk aside a teacher, what a difference that makes. And I think that's where the field is going.
And I couldn't agree more. I think we impact teachers, we impact parents that participate in our programs, and the impact we're having on kids and the confidence they leave the programs with leads them to be confident in changing their communities. Yeah. And so it is an exponential effect as we impact one. Yeah. They go out and impact the rest of the community.
Yeah. And you hear it when a teacher comes back on campus the next year with the next class. You hear them say what a difference it made over the last year for them.
Yeah. So in a time when people feel so disconnected from nature, how are outdoor schools the antidote? Like how do we address that?
There's never a more important time for outdoor school. Our kids are being overscheduled, overmanaged, overtested, and our time, when they are able to come with us, we take away the walls, we take away the tests, we take all of those things away, and we're able to create that sense of discovery, that sense of wonder, that sense of curiosity. And all of the outdoor centers I've visited are so similar, but when you create that sense of magic for a kid, it's not magic. It was very intentional to create that experience, but it'll touch their soul. When you do that, that has impact 20 years later. And we see that over and over. Oh yeah, we see it over and over.
And we get, the joy of outdoor school is we get kids for 3, 4, 5 days, and learning really does happen overnight. And it happens through getting kids in a place like here at North Bay where the kids are walking through place, but also walking through time.
Right.
Yeah.
And spending time outside, not just a quick go to nature center, spend a couple hours, which is a good experience, but to return to a place the next day, maybe it's rained or snowed overnight, and returning there is huge. And that's really where some of the biggest impacts happen, I think, for outdoor school learning.
Yeah. I agree. The overnight component that we bring, I think sometimes is the greatest challenge that we give kids, and it's the greatest opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
Kids who've never been away from home.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's their first time ever away from home.
What gives you the most hope for outdoor schools? And what do you see in the years ahead?
I'm going to be direct, and what gives me hope is folks like you, friends and colleagues. The fact that North Bay is hosting this National Outdoor School Summit that's sponsored by the Association of Nature Center Administrators, but they've been doing that for 2 decades, and I've learned so much. A good example, when IslandWood, when you opened up your campus more than 20 years ago, I actually visited there, and what if I could build my own campus? And then Rick, when you guys were building North Bay,
right? We visited Wolf Ridge, and said, "What could we do this?"
Right.
Yeah.
So when we opened our Riverbend Farm campus, the Ecology School in 2021, that was the result of having this powerful outdoor school network where we share with each other, we support each other, like we support each other through COVID. That's what actually gives me hope that all of us from coast to coast, you and I are on the East Coast here, you're on the West Coast, we've got Tremont and down in the Smokies, we've got Wolf Ridge in Minnesota, Cuyahoga, Ohio, all over the country, and we get together and we inspire each other so that we can do more for the kids.
Yeah. So Washington's legislature that set a really powerful precedent in funding models for outdoor schools. Tell me a little bit about that, and tell me why you think that approach could be important nationwide.
Yeah, well, the most important thing that I think it did is it made outdoor school a must-have, not a nice-to-have. It's not about the field trip. It's actually, in my mind, what that legislation has done is it has created where this is a right for every kid. It's a rite of passage for every kid. Every kid should be able to access it.
Right.
And it is a part of their education, not a nice to have. And so that the what happened and what gives me a lot of hope actually is that bill that was passed was a bipartisan bill. It was we only had 3 legislators decline or say no to the bill. And that actually gave me tons of hope because every time we talk to legislators, their belief in outdoor school is high.
Yeah.
And so for what I see happening is because of that bill, what we see is everybody's now being brought to the table to talk about it, whether that is our State Department of Education, whether it's our Office of Conservation and Recreation, whether it's our tribes, whether it's our teachers, our schools, our principals, our outdoor centers, those who are giving physical access, all of those folks are being brought to the table to advise on that bill. It's really exciting, really exciting.
So we're blown away by that because what we see in Maryland and frankly across the country is an inequity in access. We see that the sort of top 30% in affluence and economic mobility are able to access programs like this and have transformational experiences, and many, many kids are left behind. Drew, what do you think? Could this be a model for how we bridge that equity gap in access to outdoor school?
Oh, without a doubt. I think, it's interesting how much outdoor school leaders like us are getting involved in policy and approaching both at the state and federal level, working with governors and with representatives, senators, and saying, this is a positive move forward for innovation and education. It helps us address behavior in kids, food insecurity, all these different things. So it makes sense. And really, you touched on this already, Megan. It's been very bipartisan that Republicans and Democrats love this idea. Getting kids outside is a right. It's something every kid have to do. So like supporting outdoor schools. And it's really, one way, it's the most equitable, cost efficient. I would argue it's one of the most cost efficient ways to address a lot of concerns with youth development is do it through thoughtful, statewide outdoor school initiatives that every kid in every state gets to go to outdoor school.
Yeah. And the data is backing that up. It was just what you're saying. The efficiency of these programs, the efficacy of these programs, as you both know, there's an incredible evaluation report out of Oregon this year showing incredible gains. For those students, I know that Washington is embarking on an evaluation journey as well. We'll be providing data that we know is going to show those gains. We see that in NorthBay's data, that we are creating academic success for kids, that we're creating confidence in learning, that we are addressing attendance issues and behavior issues and providing an opportunity for well-being for students. That should be a right for all kids.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That they have access to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The impact is there, and we know that, and that get more kids have that effective experience is just exciting.
So this seems like a no-brainer. So what are the barriers? Like, why aren't we doing it?
I think one of the biggest barriers is this scarcity model that happens of, kind of, hey, but, wait, yeah, this is really important, but reading and writing is really important. It's like, yes, of course, but, guess what? Actually, you're working on all of those things when you're going to outdoor school. And so this mode of us against others is just, that actually is one of the barriers that we see, especially as state budgets get tight.
Right.
But I think the more we can talk about the fact that actually you are doing those things and we're doing it together. So I think that's one of the barriers is this sense of scarcity, that it's this additional thing to fund, and it's actually, and you mentioned it, Drew. The return on investment is so high, but I think that's one of the barriers.
Yeah.
And I think you're hitting on, Megan, too, that policy often there's a tendency to address things like education, agriculture, climate change as separate tracks. And what I think we do so well with the outdoor school curriculum and our approach is, and I said it earlier, like we bring people together to bring it all together and to talk with policymakers and politicians and say, outdoor school is a way to like solve multiple problems. We take a holistic systems approach, whether it's green building. I know Katie McClare was talking about all the cool stuff they're going to be doing at Tremont with Living Building Challenge. I already mentioned like food systems we have an agroecology program that we do that we're actually solving or interneting challenges and solving them holistically and in collaboration, partnership with a lot of other nonprofits too.
Right. So where's it going to be in 5 years?
Sky's the limit.
Well, I'll tell you where I want it to be in 5 years is I want every state to have an outdoor school for all bill. And hopefully, where I think it'll be in 5 years is we'll have more states that pass it. And I think that momentum will continue. But there are more states that will pass that bill that will be thinking about this in a holistic way. And I think I think we'll be on our way towards getting the country to be thinking in that way. That's my view.
It's happening. I mean, you folks in Maryland are working on
the movement's here.
Outdoor school bill. Our legislature just started a couple days ago, and we're reintroducing an outdoor school for all Maine students bill.
Yeah.
And it's being sponsored by a Republican senator.
Yeah.
So strong bipartisan support. We're excited. And actually, our Speaker of the House, Ryan Fecteau, went to outdoor school at the Ecology school. So when you start getting people who make those decisions say, I went to North Bay, I went to IslandWood, I went to the Ecology school, it's awesome.
Yep. So Drew, we got to hear a story from Megan. I want to give you the opportunity. We are so lucky in this field to be able to interact with these transformative experiences and see them firsthand. Anything you want to share?
I'm going to share one, and I'm lucky in that I've been doing outdoor school work for over 30 years, and this happened early on in my career. I was doing an activity where we had kids pick their favorite food item, trace it back to the source.
Sure.
And I had this boy loved potato chips. So trace it back to the source. I could not get him out of the factory.
Right.
The idea that a potato chip started as a tuber in the ground covered in dirt was horrifying to him.
Right.
So that was early on in my career, realizing that outdoor school was not just about conservation outside. The mealtime component and food and where your food comes from and how it gets into that, how your potato chip gets into the bag was crucial. So that was just like, wow.
Yeah.
The power of even that element of outdoor school food and where your food comes from. And I was lucky to have that experience with a kid so early on in my career.
Right. Well, Megan, Drew, I really, really appreciate you being here. And I really appreciate that we're on this movement together.
Yeah.
And outdoor school leaders, political leaders, education leaders, people all over this country are prioritizing outdoor school as a right for students and not just a privilege for the few. Yeah. So I thank you for your hard work making that happen, and I look forward to the journey together.
Thanks for hosting us here.
Yeah, thanks for North Bay's leadership on this. It's inspiring.
Thank you. That's a wrap for this episode of the North Bay Podcast. But remember, the conversation doesn't have to stop here. Outdoor learning is a movement, and we all have a role to play in making sure every student, no matter where they are, has access to the life-changing benefits of learning in nature. If you enjoyed today's discussion, be sure to subscribe, like, and share the podcast with others who believe in the power of learning beyond the classroom. And remember, outdoor school shouldn't be a privilege for the few, but rather a right for every student. See you next time.